So this Eternal Evolution video is going to be my spin on the top heroes in the game, ranking them from what I own from top to worst, essentially. I'm going to have a bit of a different spin on it compared to what I've seen other people do. Most other people will just kind of rank them in their category, being like tanks or hunters or energy or supports. Mine is going to be sort of like who's most critical and who can you actually build. So, for instance, having Bailey up at number one is not really viable because you can't get him free to play, and you can't even get him up to Immortal unless you're a big whale early on. So yeah, we'll go through my spin. So like and subscribe if you like the content, and I'll show you a little spreadsheet that I've made. Actually, no, first I'll show you the sort of heroes that I have. So again, this account, as I've said a million times, is completely free to play. So what you've got here, apart from Daniel, Senway, and Kalaza, you can get free to play to this level of immortality or this evolution level, completely free to play by month three. The reason I single out Daniel, Senway, and Kalaza is that these characters were all part of a like an event that happened. So there was the Rise of Heroes event for Kalaza, for Senway, and Daniel was a Christmas event. So I can't really count them as being complete free to play because the chances of getting Daniel again free to play Immortal are quite hard. So yeah, this is a quick overview as to sort of like where you can get your Heroes Evolution to in the first 3 months. All right, so let's crack onto the spreadsheet now. So I've just got a few things that I want to go through first. So some of my main sort of points that I took into account is how easy is it to acquire the hero? Does someone else do a better job? Because there's no point building up 3 tanks when you only need 1 or 2. Is there no one else in the class? So there's one instance in the way I play the game. Boar is the only tank hero that I use. So he got further up the chain just because I needed a tank sometimes. And if they're not listed in this list, it's because I don't own them. And it also means that they're very hard to get. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend focusing on characters that if you want a really powerful account, I wouldn't focus on trying to get the characters I haven't listed because I've been playing this for 3 months and I still don't have 1 copy of them. All right, so getting into this, the way the points score is 1 is low and 5 is the best. So in campaign, I've given Bot Marker 2. He's not great at campaign. You do use him sometimes, especially early game, but mid to late game, you won't really see him in campaign. Difficulty to build. He's not that hard to build. He's not the easiest to build because there's no major event for him. But he's quite easy to build, and he should be a focal character in your recruitment advanced tickets as well. For dungeon, he's top tier. His defense down ability is incredible. In events, same sort of reasoning for the dungeon. Gave him a 5. So his total points that he got was 16. With Emma, campaign, she's a bit better than Botmark. Difficulty to build, she gets a better rating than Botmark because in week 2, she has an event that you can get her up to Immortal for free. Dungeon, she's top tier. Event, she's top tier. So yeah, she comes in at 18 points. So with Leo, campaign, he's 5. He can basically completely heal himself constantly. He can tank the entire teams up to like campaign 40 plus solo with the heal in the background. He is quite hard to build, but the only reason I gave him a 2 instead of a 1 is because he should be a priority. So even though he's one of the hardest heroes to build up, he should be your priority for gene hybrids. In dungeons, he's a 4. He's really, really good. But as you get super late game in dungeons, you don't actually need a tank, you just need DPS. In events, yeah, he's a 5, does everything really well. So he's got a 16 there. If I had another sort of metric as well, like the ability to solo content, essentially, he would get a 5 for that. And he would be the only character that would get a bonus in that. He can solo a lot of content. So even though Leo's got a lower rating than Emma, overall, Leo is a much, much better champ. Mazrani, he's top tier in every piece of content. Whenever I do Twilight Lands, all that sort of thing, he's in the team. It's very similar for Serena. The reason I'm actually going back to Mazrani, the reason his difficulty to build is very high, or he's very easy to build, so he gets a really good rating. is week 4. He has a actual order event. It's a whole week of free copies of Masrani, and there's a video that I have on him to get him up to Immortal free. Yeah, and then Serena, exact same sort of thing. She gives defense down, whereas Masrani gives boosted attack to real on heroes. So they're much of muchness. Taylor, you use him early game, mid game, end game in certain content, but early game you'll definitely be using him in the dungeons. So campaign, he does fizzle out sort of mid to late game. He's difficult to build. You get one free copy of him early on, and he has a pretty decent drop rate. So yeah, he's not too bad. Dungeons, he's top tier. He's on par with Emma for the most part. And events at 3, he's pretty good, but there's some people that outclass him. One other thing to mention while I go through this as well, you'll notice that I don't have any arena stats. I've said it in a few videos, I don't care for arena. For me, the rewards aren't worth the effort. Give or take Galactic Arena a little bit, but you really are, especially free to play, going up against Wales for the most part. And I'm just lucky that I can finish in the top 50 in Galactic Arena each week. So yeah, you won't see this one including arena stats, and I'm not sorry about it. I don't really appreciate arena very much. But if there's an outcry for it, or you guys really want to see my sort of top tier list for arena, just chuck it in the comments, and if enough people care, I will make one. All right, so the other point to note is that this is the priority. So all these characters up here, this is who I would build a focus on. This is who I would focus on second. So the only reason Bailey's not at the top is his difficulty to build is so high, and all the way up into the campaign where I'm at, Leo has been enough for me to progress. I haven't needed Bailey because I haven't been able to build him. So I would focus building Leo before you worry about Bailey. One little thing that I've done is I've put one more gene hybrid into Leo to get into Immortal, but Leo's doing a good enough job as he is. I'm more worried about now getting Bailey up to Immortal. So yeah, full campaign, he probably will be a 5, but I'm already using him in campaign at Mythic 2. And I haven't even unlocked his EX because I want to make a video on Bailey from start to finish with no talents, no EX, no nothing. So chances are he will be a level 5 for campaign, but he also might get nuked really easy, so I'm not too sure yet. Difficulty to build, he's a 2, the same as Leo. You can get him for free. Actually, he's probably a 3 for difficulty to build, because in your recruitment events, as long as you've got 700 tickets, you can get a free copy, and you can probably get a free copy of him every month. So, yeah. But Eugene hybrids, you won't even get a copy of Bailey at all for like the first 6 to 8 weeks in the way that I play. Well, yeah, 6 weeks. So, yeah, he's impossible to build at the start, and then slow to build once you got him. In dungeons and events, he's top tier. He does so well. So, yeah. This is what I mentioned earlier. I don't have a tank. I mean, I do have Leo, but when it comes to pure tank, Boar's the best there is, in my opinion. And again, I don't have Guan Yu. I'm not sure if he's a tank or a vanguard. But I needed a tank up here. I never really use him in campaign. I do sometimes. He's not that hard to build because you can just focus him on your advanced tickets. In the dungeons, I don't use him. In events, I don't use him. But sometimes you just need a tank. You need someone to take that little bit of extra damage, and he's got the best stats and skills to kind of carry through. I'm not at the hyper evolution stage yet, but Paul is one of the characters you can hyper evolve, so that gives him bonus points. Now Daniel is arguably my second favorite character. It probably goes Leo, then Daniel, then Masrani, and then Bailey maybe, or it might even be Leo, Daniel, Bailey, Masrani. But this guy's got such a long AoE, high damage ult that he's almost unstoppable. He was a huge reason I managed to get through the campaign so far. So campaign, yeah, he's top tier. Difficulty to build, I got him up to Immortal only because of the Christmas event. In general, he's the same as Bailey, if not harder to get upgraded, because there's actually no way to get him. You have to wait until a banner pops up for Daniel, which we actually do have one right now. So I would recommend pulling 60 tickets on Daniel at the moment if you don't have a copy, and just be ready to put gene hybrids into him. Yeah, going to dungeons, Yeah, huge damage. In advance, huge damage. So yeah, he's a top tier character. Right, the third priority to build, Anaruda. Don't put any gene hybrids in, just build Anaruda up over time. Again, I'm month 3. I've only just started my third month. And already immortal. So campaign, pretty good. Good AoE. And if I had her or him at EX30, it adds a stun, like an AoE stun to almost the entire enemy side of the field. Difficulty to build, 3. Actually, I might make that 4. Just because you normally, once you do a recruitment events and you pull in 5 to 700 tickets a time, you normally get 1 or 2 copies of Anaruda each time. Dungeons pretty good. Events, actually, dungeons only good in the AoE ones. So maybe only 2 for dungeons, and events 5. Actually, no, 3. Artists, so you use him early game in the campaign. He's quite good. Uh, he's probably worth it 2 actually. Use him up to about mid game campaign. But me personally, oh, I know this is why I made him 1. Me personally, in week 4, you get Masrani to Immortal and Serena to Immortal quite easily by week 4. And I just had these 2 in HP and damage reduction stuff, and they're on my front line. So I didn't actually use Artists at all as soon as I got Masrani. So yeah, if you're paying free to play, build these 2 characters up. Artist doesn't come into it. But if you don't build one of these 2 up early on, you can't get Leo that early. So Artist does come into play then. So campaign is a 1, but he is definitely usable. Difficulty to build, he's not that hard. You can focus him, and if you have a content creator affiliate code, um, you can get a free copy of him as well at the start. And you do get a free copy of him from the battle merit system as well once you get to a certain level. Dungeons is quite good, even end game. His ability to reduce the enemy damage reduction is really handy. It speeds things up when enemies are at low health, especially on things like the Guild Hunt. So yeah, Art's pretty good, and events at 3 just again because he's damage reduction removal. Luke is someone, as soon as Bailey's finished, I'm going to be building Luke as much as I can. So campaign he's a 5, dungeons he's a 5, events he's a 5. Difficulty to build he's incredibly hard. You do get a banner for him early on. It's not worth pulling any tickets on him at that point because you need to worry about Emma and Masrani really. But I've now got a copy of Luke, and I did put some gene hybrids into him, and I should have saved them for Bailey. But I think I gene hybrid him up a little bit to push myself further in the Twilight Lands. Because yeah, even at Mythic, like +0, I was using him in Twilight Lands. Randall, he does synergize quite well with Leo. He can get to the back with Gautier or Haggadon and do a mini AoE stun with a bit of AoE burst damage. And yeah, so you don't really use him in campaign. He's not that hard to build. He's okay in dungeons and he's okay in events. He just helps out a little bit throughout some stages. And he's the main reason actually is he is probably the best. Apart from Leo, he's probably the best aggravator of Arcana in Soulmine and in the campaign. Ravenna, you can see I put nothing into her, but Ravenna is also a close second for swapping out with Luke. Ravenna's damage burst is huge. So she'd be a 5 campaign if she was built. Dungeons and events, even though she's AoE, her damage to single targets is still through the roof, but incredibly hard to build. You get a banner and you can get a free copy of her in the first week, which is where I got her. But yeah, since the first week, I haven't got another copy of Ravenna. Rez, awesome hero. He probably will move up the ladder in this, probably be a priority 1 at some point. But again, this is based on my focus on how to build him as my account progresses. And Rez, I'm not putting any gene hybrids into. I'm just getting copies of him once every fortnight from the Galactic Arena shop. So campaign is a 3. Difficulty to build 3 because you do get free copies of him constantly. Dungeons and event he's a 4. He might even move up to a 5/5/5 end game because if you synergize him with a really awesome champ, yeah, Rez can be top tier. Senway is actually surprisingly really high damage output, and because he has a minion that he summons, you can actually place that minion somewhere on the battlefield to take away from the enemy attacking someone. So early on, I was lucky to get an immortal copy of Senway through Rise of Heroes, and yeah, his little minion was just bait for the enemy to focus on while my healers were getting their ults up to sort of sustain myself. So yeah, pretty good campaign. He does the same in every single battle. He does good damage. He can help tank a little bit only because you just throw the minion out there. And yeah, he's one of those ones that you would, after Serena, Bot Mark 2, and Taylor, he would probably be one of your top tier sort of advanced ticket summons to put on your wish list. So Creep, really good champ, and he does actually have a banner on ×2 ship event, but again, my free to play account, I focused on either side of this banner, which was Emma in week 2 and Masrani in week 4, with Creep being in the middle week 3. He's top tier, but he's still outdone by Leo in campaign. He's really hard to build because you only get a banner on him once so far. In dungeons and events, he's got a 3 because he's got a defense down, and he's really good for aggravating the enemy. So yeah, he's definitely good, but he's just outdone by Leo in my opinion. Botta, again, outdone by 2 healers already, but she's a Wenfi hero. Mazrani's an Atlas, and Serena is a Terran hero, so she does get a little bit of bonus points for being a Wenfi hero. She's okay in the campaign, just obviously sustainment. Difficulty to build, very hard to build. We've only had 1 banner on her when she first got released. Dungeons should be amazing because she brings a attack and defense buff to your whole team. And in events, she would do the same sort of thing. Moving on to Hercules. So again, all the tanks that you see me have won't be a priority solely because the ball's better, in my opinion. And I haven't focused them at all. So yeah, Hercules, okay across the board. Well, okay for a tank. Hypnoso, well, don't use him for anything at all in my account. He can be used as a displacement hero counter. So Leo, Creep, Bailey, Randall, Rakana. He can actually do a stun for anyone that lands in his sort of little charging circle, and by teleporting or whatever or jumping. So it can be used as a counter, but I don't use it for anything currently. Liran's only up here as priority 4 because early game, before you get Mazrani, you do need another healer, and you do get Liran free from Soulmine early on. So yeah, Liran's alright, but mid game to late game, he's completely wiped out, and you're better off by far having Mazrani and Serena. Nagrama, really good champ if you get him up to Immortal. He would be 3rd in my list for. So my first priority for advanced tickets is always going to be Taylor, Emma, and Botmark. And then next up it would be Boar, Randall, Senway. And then you'd be looking at sort of Nagrama and Soriata sort of thing after that, and Oysa. So yeah, he'd be my 3rd tier of heroes to be getting from advanced tickets. He's got a really, really long-lasting ult that does an AoE beam, and it stacks up huge, huge damage, but it takes ages to get it off. So in player versus enemy content, really good. In PvP, terrible. But again, I don't care about PvP, so that's why he's up here. Oysa, if you don't get Daniel, which most people won't be able to, she's got an AoE stun, which comes in really handy for countering Sorietas and stuff in campaign. So, yeah, she's up there for that. She would actually be, she's definitely above Hercules. She's actually coming in a second. Actually, really should be up here in the level 3 for most accounts because you wouldn't get Daniel, and you need more people with AoE stuns. But yeah, for my account, she's down here. Soriata is a really good champ, but again, just outdone by Taylor and Emma, who you get to Immortal quite quick. And you see 3 months in, I haven't focused Soriata, so Soriata's still sitting down at Mythic. Mythic 2. So yeah, all running campaign, not too hard to build, pretty good in dungeons, pretty good in events, but yeah, outdone mostly by Taylor. These are now getting to the heroes that I wouldn't worry about building. It's mostly due to their difficulty to build and what they offer the team compared to these other heroes up here. So Falbia, good champ, but very, very hard to pull, low drop rates. And she's not even high enough level for me to really test out how good she is, but from all accounts, she's got a multi-hit AoE attack, which is pretty cool. Not many people have that. Pregor, you can only get from the Triple S Summon Shard B, I think it is. And that either comes from the Summit Arena or Twilight Lands. I think it's from the Twilight Lands. Nafanga's new champ. He's only been in the game for about a week at the moment, not even a week. He does have some usability. I see people using it in arena, but this is not arena based. Difficulty to build. People right now will argue with this. He's very easy to build, but once this Rise of Hero event comes up, he's just going to be in your advanced summon tickets wish list, and he wouldn't even be in my top two wish list priorities. So he will be quite hard to build after the Rise of Hero events. Rakana could be useful in arena, especially if you had a displacement hero team. But yeah, don't use Rakana at all, so I'm not too phased. This final one, interested to hear what your thoughts are. None of these heroes are worth putting any effort into at all. Um, Very hard to build, or Ormond's the exception, very easy to build, but I was just using him for food because you get so many copies of him. He gets outskilled in damage so quickly, or outscaled in damage so quickly, and yeah, so many better heroes than him. Xander, um, very, very hard to get copies of. You need to see Kalaz down here. Like I've got him +5 Immortal. That's because I got him. There's been 2 events now since I've been playing to get free copies of Kalaza. One was Christmas, I think. Oh no, you get Kalaza and Daniel Banner at Christmas, and then we had a Rise of Heroes event as well for Kalaza. So I mean, I do use Kalaza in some events, but yeah, unless it's very specific when you use him, so I don't really rate him. And yeah, that is what I've got for my sort of ratings list. Again, the most dominant sort of factor of how I built this is how can you actually get these characters in the game? Because a character like Bailey, who, in my opinion, the best way to get him is to wait until week 6 and then summon him on a recruitment event and then start putting Gene Hybrids in. There's no point in putting him at priority 1 because you're not getting him for the first 2 months. And he's only just becoming usable now in the start of the 3rd month. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps. I hope it's a little bit different to what everyone else is putting out there. And yeah, enjoy. Peace. Thanks for listening.